Now is the time to install a virtual machine for deploying or installing Active Directory role. So we want to create a virtual machine like ESXi01 or this one. But this time we're going to install a Windows server. So we'll click on create a new virtual machine and we'll say custom and next. And the hardware compatibility is going to be the latest version. And here we'll browse the directory and we'll say next. So here for our lab, we don't need license for Windows Server. You can actually practice Windows Server in your lab for 6 months with the trial version. Here we'll say administrator and next. And this pop-up actually tells you you must manually activate your Windows later. And here we'll say Active Directory and we'll browse our SSD drive, VM location and vSphere 7. Here we'll make a folder, we call it Active Directory. And OK, next, and next. And only 2 virtual machines, that would be OK. And we'll say 4 GB of RAM. And we should change VM network from NAT to VMnet 0. So we'll say next. And again next. And we'll use the default disk, which is SCSI. And here we'll say only 30 GB. And next. And again next. And here we'll customize the virtual machine before power on that virtual machine. So we'll say VMnet 0 and we'll double check the ISO file. This checkbox must be actually selected. So we'll say close and finish. And simply we'll drag this Active Directory to our vSphere folder. And we'll say power on virtual machine. So next time I'm going to tell you how you can deploy a virtual machine by using Windows template in VMware Workstation. So here we'll use the first one, Standard Edition, and we'll say next. And now as you can see, the Windows Server is going to install. Now that we have Windows Server 2019 installed, we have to do some basic configuration to actually prepare the operating system for installing Active Directory. So first of all, we should change the host name, and in the meanwhile, VMTools is going to install on this operating system. So we'll right click on this computer and we'll say advanced, and computer name will say AD, and we'll say OK. And we actually restart the computer later on, and we'll say mgmt.msc, which is computer management, to assign the user a password. I mean this administrator user. So we'll right click and we'll say set password. We'll type the password and we'll configure the password and OK. And here again we'll say no actually to restart the computer later on. So and now we should actually change the IP configuration here. As you can see, now we have DHCP IP address. So based on our lab, we have the IP for Active Directory is going to be 10.5. So we'll say 192.168.10.5, and the DNS is going to be localhost, which is our DNS server on our Active Directory server. Now we should restart the server actually to apply the changes. So as you can see, auto login is enabled on this virtual machine. We'll right click and we'll say setting, and in option we'll say auto login, and we'll click on disable auto login. That means it's prompts you actually to type your password. So we'll say cmd and ipconfig. As you can see, this is the new IP address, and we'll say who am I. We log into this computer account with administrator user.